Manchester United crisis deepens. After a disastrous 1-0 defeat to Everton, even after playing 77 minutes against 10 men, the pressure on Ruben Amorim and several United stars has exploded. Former Liverpool striker Michael Owen has brutally claimed Joshua Zirkzee doesn't fit into Amorim's plans, while young talents like Harry Amass are suddenly being tipped for promotion as the squad continues to struggle. In today's video we break down why Zirkzee's Manchester United future is in serious doubt, how Amorim's tactics collapsed despite a numerical advantage, the mistakes from Dorgu, Yoro and Mazraoui, the shocking prediction on when Ruben Amorim could be sacked, and why wonder kid Harry Amass is closer than ever to a first-team breakthrough. This is a full breakdown of Manchester United's latest meltdown, and what it means for the future of the club. Make sure you watch until the end. Man United star brutally told he doesn't fit into Ruben Amorim's plans after Everton loss. Manchester United failed to score, despite playing for 81 minutes against Everton's 10 men on Monday night, and one player was picked out for his uninspired performance. Joshua Zirkzee came in for some tough criticism from Michael Owen following his showing against Everton. Handed his first Premier League start of the season on Monday, the Dutch forward struggled to make any real impact as Manchester United fell to a 1-0 defeat. Zirkzee has largely been limited to cameo appearances this campaign, with Ruben Amorim consistently choosing summer arrivals Matheus Cunha or Benjamin Sesko as his main striker options. However, Sesko was unavailable through injury and Cunha pulled out late after suffering a knock in training, leaving Amorim with little choice but to turn to Zirkzee. Everton went down to 10 men just 13 minutes and after Idrissa Gueye was bizarrely sent off for slapping his own teammate, Michael Keane. Despite the numerical advantage, United failed to capitalize, and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall's goal proved enough for the visitors, who defended resiliently to secure all 3 points. United dominated the ball and had 25 shots, but couldn't find a way past Jordan Pickford, who made an impressive late save to keep out Zirkzee's header. The 24-year-old is yet to score or assist in 6 appearances this season, and Owen has suggested he doesn't have a future at the club. "I can't watch him and get excited, I must admit," Owen told Premier League Productions. Cunha missing today was a big blow. He was the closest to scoring for Man United, but they are almost resorting to playing like this with hopeful crosses because he's in there. If you have Cunha playing, a different profile of player, you probably don't go knocking crosses in all game. It's not how Manchester United want to play, and I always think if you start lumping the ball it becomes desperation. 1 or 2 landed on Zirkzee's head, but the way Man United are playing prior to tonight, it's not the right profile of player. He doesn't excite me at all. Zirkzee joined United for £36 million from Bologna in July 2024. He has managed just 7 goals and 3 assists in 55 appearances for the club since then and has been strongly linked with a move away from Old Trafford in 2026. The arrivals of Sesko, Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo for over £200 million in the summer has seen Zirkzee relegated in the pecking order, with United's exit at the hands of Grimsby in the Carabao Cup and their lack of European football giving him even fewer opportunities to play. However, with Sesko currently injured after being forced off in the 2-2 draw with Tottenham earlier this month and Mbeumo heading to the Africa Cup of Nations next month along with Yoro Mazraoui and Amad Diallo, Amorim may have to deny Zirkzee a move away in the January transfer window and use him more often. United are next in action against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park on Sunday when they will be hoping to have Cunha back. Amorim's side are 10th in the Premier League after Everton ended their 5-game unbeaten streak in the league. Revealed. The date Ruben Amorim will be sacked and why with this, as bad as it gets for Manchester United. When David Moyes said Manchester United must improve in a number of areas, he listed 3 facets of their game. Or well, the entire sport: passing, creating chances and defending. He did not cite whipping balls into the box. Little wonder, as exactly 2 months later his team was breaking the record for the most crosses attempted by a team in a single Premier League game. René Meulenstein described Manchester United's style as basic and simple to defend, while Dan Burn joked that he hadn't headed that many balls since playing in the conference, and was perfectly happy for them to keep doing it. Darren Bent echoed the same sentiment, admitting he expected exactly that, and was more than content to watch United play in such a predictable way, even though he ended up scoring a late equalizer with barely any touches in his own box. David Moyes himself eventually conceded that the performance was as bad as it gets, and his dismissal came just 72 days later, with those infamous 81 crosses becoming the defining image of his short-lived tenure. But what happened here was even worse. Weeks of steady improvement were thrown away, completely undone by another display that highlighted Ruben Amorim's most worrying habits and tactical weaknesses. It was Moyes securing his first ever Premier League win as a visiting manager at Old Trafford in 18 attempts dating back to 2002, Manchester United suffering their first ever Premier League home defeat after seeing the opposition have a player sent off, and Everton not failing to have a single shot after their goal, but instead rather sagely identifying the distinct lack of any need to try. They had Idrissa Gueye dismissed for a baffling moment of self-destruction in the 13th minute but produced a performance of determined grit and organized obduracy which had both managers praising the infighting post-match. "I quite like when my players have a fight," said Moyes, resisting the obvious temptation to say only that the situation would be handled internally. "I don't want them to accept someone not doing well enough. I hope my players, when they lose the ball, they fight each other," Amorim added. But when the Portuguese also describes it as "my fault," that said players didn't understand the moments of the game during the 90 minutes, and that he needs to better explain to the players how to play in every situation of the game, it is difficult to see how Casemiro scrapping with Matthijs de Ligt over a misplaced pass would help. Jose Mourinho once claimed he had to control the brain of Luke Shaw, insisting the defender could only follow instructions and couldn't naturally play in the way Mourinho wanted. Ruben Amorim now finds himself in a similar situation, but on a much larger scale. Instead of guiding one player, he seems to be micromanaging an entire squad that struggles to think independently on the pitch. Even against an opponent that had won just once in their last 4 matches, went down to 10 men for 77 minutes, and hadn't won at that ground in years, United still looked lost, passive and unable to take. December 2013, during the mess of the Moyes season when it felt like a team would record their first win at Old Trafford in decades every other week. If this group needs a coach to issue reminders about the need to raise their intensity and diversify their course of attack somewhat against a team down one player, then it is yet again difficult to envisage quite how this arrangement ultimately works. Manchester United put in 38 crosses against Everton, bringing into question Amorim's claim about having spent the international break watching what opposition managers do before coming to the conclusion that James Tarkowski and Michael Keane might struggle under an aerial assault. That is not even close to touching those absurd numbers posted against Fulham, but still 9 more than their previous season high across 120 minutes on that miserable evening at Grimsby, and their most in a Premier League game since October 2018. Man United wonderkid Harry Amass poised for first-team promotion after seeing what Dorgu did versus Everton. Manchester United shocked their supporters with a terrible display that led to a 1-0 defeat at Old Trafford against Everton. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall gave Everton a first-half lead with a sublime strike from the edge of the box. Sen Lamens could have done better in palming the shot away. Manchester United played almost the entire match with an extra man after a bizarre red card, yet they still couldn't break Everton down. Several players struggled on the night, but Patrick Dorgu stood out as the poorest performer. Given a second straight start at left wing-back ahead of Diogo Dalot, Dorgu failed to deliver the attacking threat Ruben Amorim expected, especially with Mazraoui operating on the opposite flank. The 21-year-old won just 2 of his 7 duels and didn't complete any of his 3 attempted crosses. In our post-match ratings, he earned a disappointing 3/10. Dorgu has potential, but he's clearly not ready to be a consistent starter for a club of United's size. With a trip to Crystal Palace coming up on Sunday, he's at serious risk of losing his place in the lineup. Amorim could bring Dalot back in, but the Portuguese fullback doesn't offer a massive upgrade either. That situation could open the door for young Harry Amass, who now has every reason to feel encouraged about his chances of breaking into the team. Harry Amass deserves permanent promotion next season. Amass is enjoying a superb loan spell at Sheffield Wednesday. His current deal with the championship outfit runs until the end of this season, but United have a clause to recall him in January. The 18-year-old is highly rated at academy level and has already made his senior breakthrough under Amorim earlier this year. Many expected him to fight for the starting spot this term, but United decided to send him on loan where he could play regularly. Dalot is unreliable going forward while Dorgu lacks quality with his final pass/cross. Amass is improving his decision-making in the final third at Wednesday, having started all 12 championship games. The best part of Amass' loan spell is that he is gaining first-hand experience at left wing-back, as Wednesday also plays in a 3-4-2-1 formation. Recalling him in January is an option, but we do not believe the club would want 3 players competing for one position, especially with no European fixtures. Diego Leon was signed earlier this summer and he is another alternative for the left wing-back position. The teenager is currently featuring with the under-21s to gain experience of English football. Manchester United fans, this defeat to Everton wasn't just another bad day. It exposed major tactical problems, squad weaknesses, and raised big questions about Ruben Amorim's project. With Zirkzee struggling, Dorgu underperforming, and Amass shining out on loan, United must make huge decisions before January. What do you think? Should Zirkzee be sold? Is Amorim still the right manager? Should Amass return to fight for the left wing-back spot? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed the analysis, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a Manchester United update. Thanks for watching. Glory, glory Man United.